We're on the road with Mickey, we're gonna have some fun. Regardless of the rain or sun, our trip has just begun. So buckle up, let's go, we're about to start the show. And maybe if you like us, you'll see where else we'll go. Hi everyone, I'm Sophie, he's Mike. Welcome to our little corner of the podcasting universe. Hopefully you like the sound of our voices and you want to stick around for the show. Not that it stays in one place for long. I mean, after all, we are on the road with Mickey. So hop in the car and buckle up your seat belts because we've got an awesome adventure this week. Now a brief rundown before we get moving. First up, our roundtable talk where we'll discuss the main topic for this week, followed by some Disney trivia ranging from Disney history to a random Disney character of the day. Well, that's just about it. Everybody ready? Let's get this show on the road.
Hey everyone, I'm Mike and she's Sophie.
Hello there.
And we're on the road with Mickey. This is episode number 22 for June 1st, 2020. And we're concluding our look at the Walt Disney resorts by taking a look at some of our favorite deluxe and deluxe villa resorts. But as always, what do we have first, Sophie?
We have a lot of cheddar, very important cheddar, sharp cheddar.
From the big cheese. So why don't you start us off?
Okay, well, as you guys, I'm not sure if they know yet, but we have an online store, and there you can get some On the Road with Mickey gear. We've gotten some gear ourselves. We've got t-shirts, and they all look very amazing. And when you go and buy the gear, you will help support us and the podcast, and we will get a little bit of the proceeds from buying on the shop. And there is still a 15% coupon on it because it's within the first 2 weeks.
I'm not sure if the coupon is still on at this point. So I think the 28th might have been the last day. So I'll have to see if I can put a new coupon on.
All right.
I'm not sure exactly how that works, but anyway, we like Sophie said, we ordered some and we have not received them just yet. But when we have them, we will wear them on a future episode, right, Soph?
Oh, I most certainly will.
Yeah, and then we'll show them off to everybody.
Yes.
All right, and
now here's the big part, the important stuff.
You want to tackle Universal, and then I'll talk about all the changes at Disney?
Sure, I'll tackle Universal.
Okay.
So, here's the big thing. We have opening dates for Universal Studios, and it's going to be opening this Friday, June the 5th. Nothing yet on the hotel's opening on the day as well, but this is the beginning of the end of the quarantine. Yeah. Things are getting back to normal, and where Universal goes, when it opens up, Disney follows.
Yeah, and usually it's the other way around, but in this case, Universal really stepped up and opened a lot earlier than I think a lot of people thought they would. And the other day in the task force for reopening meeting, it was also announced that SeaWorld has submitted plans for reopening on June 11th. And so, and I think that has been approved and is just waiting for Governor DeSantis, the governor of Florida, to sign off on that for their approval. Now, over at Disney, they also announced reopening dates, and it's a little bit convoluted, so I thought I would just go down what we know. And what we know right now is that the Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom are set to open on July 11th. Epcot and Hollywood Studios are set to open on July 15th. Now, as far as resorts go, DVC resorts are set to reopen starting June 22nd, with the exception of like Vero Beach and Hilton Head, which are opening a little bit before then. But I didn't really include them because they're not Walt Disney World resorts. And the Fort Wilderness Camp Resort, the campgrounds and cabins, I think, are also going to open on June 22nd. Um, Now, other resorts, and we're not sure yet at time of recording if that will include all the resorts or just some of them, but other resorts are set to open on July 11th. And it's kind of big news for us personally because of our trip starting on July 12th.
Very
so,
big news.
so we'll see. Um, Now, to get into the park, you must have both a park ticket and a reservation for that park. And they're still working out the details. We're recording this on May 28th. This is Thursday. This is last Thursday. Um, and right now, all the systems are down. They're working on these systems to make the park reservations and everything like that. You can't make new reservations right now. You can't make dining or fast passes. You can't buy park tickets because they want to focus on all of those that already have tickets and already have existing reservations because there's quite a few people that already have existing reservations, you know. So they're focusing on all them. And once all that gets sorted out, then they'll reopen the system for everyone else. So we're just going to see how it progresses. It's kind of a, what we know is what we know, and we don't know a whole lot beyond that. And we're just kind of waiting and seeing, and
Mm-hmm.
um, so we'll see what we end up with. But but it is huge because it does mean that um, that the parks are going to be reopening. Life is going to start returning to normal. There's going to obviously be changes, like we saw with Shanghai. They're going to have temperature checks. They're going to have face masks. They're going to have separation as far as social distancing and rules like that. And they're going to limit capacity. And but we're going to see what happens. But it's still a start. We both saw, didn't we, Sophie, that Universal City Walk and Disney Springs are now open, and Disney Springs has opened the Disney owned properties as well as the third party vendors.
Yes, we did see that.
So that's all moving along.
Mm-hmm.
So things are just getting back to normal, which is what we love to hear and think about.
I love it.
Yeah. But that's what we got for Cheddar from the Big Cheese. Do you have anything else for us, Sophie?
I do not.
Okay. Well, then let's get on to our feature topic. Like we said, we have been covering the resorts. We started with the value resorts. We went into in depth into the moderate resorts last week. And this week, we're going to close it out by taking a look at some of our favorite deluxe and deluxe villa resorts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's 24 or so properties that you can stay at Walt Disney World, and um, and that's a lot of hotels, and obviously not all of them are deluxe or deluxe villa, but
But
um,
all
but
of them are amazing.
there's a lot of them to choose from. So we are not going to go through every single deluxe and deluxe villa resort. We'll talk about some of the cool things, the ones that we liked.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So, Sophie, since you got a unique background up, do you want to start us off with the first one?
I would love to, and this is actually based off of the first one on our list, and that would be Animal Kingdom Lodge, which is of course the Animal Kingdom Resort. It's the one closest to Animal Kingdom, and for good reason.
Yeah.
And the picture behind me that I'm using as my background is one of the specific parts of the resort. It's called Kidani Village. There are two sections. There's Kidani and there's the Jumbo House. And
Yeah.
Kidani features the Savannah view as well as the Jumbo House, I think, but mainly Kidani Village. And there they have live animals roaming the grounds. And I
Mhm.
think it's connected to the wildlife reserve that's part of Animal Kingdom.
Um, it's all. part of the same savanna. It's broken into different areas. So the savanna that you see on, for example, Kilimanjaro safaris when you're on the ride is not the same savanna, but it's all in the same area. Um, and as far as Kidani Village, Kidani and Jumbo House are the DVC. So they're the deluxe villa portions of Animal Kingdom Lodge. And Animal Kingdom Lodge is also just, you can get it as a regular deluxe um, room. If you do Kidani or Jumbo House, you can use points. And if you have a DVC membership, you can get accommodations there using your DVC, or you can pay cash for that. But they all have Savannah views, and we stayed at Kidani Village when we stayed there in, I think it was 2012, and we really enjoyed it because it was so cool to have the Savannah view, wasn't it?
It was amazing, and the
And,
rooms are beautiful too.
yeah, and one of the neat things about Animal Kingdom is if you don't have a Savannah view, let's say it's beyond your budget, it you can pick a standard view, but you can still experience parts of the savannah when you go out on the back patio because
Hmm.
they have a lot of observation areas. It's almost like going out to the zoo and looking at the animals at the zoo. And so it's really kind of neat to see it that way as well. So,
Hmm. And let's just say that this might be Mommy's favorite because Mommy loves giraffes.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
As for
She,
dining, we have tons of options. Oh, I'm sorry, Daddy, didn't mean to cut you off.
no, it's fine. I was just going to say she does love her giraffes.
Well, as for dining, we have tons of options. We actually have four listed here, and one of them is quick service, and I've been there a few times and it is amazing. They have the most delicious sweets there.
hmm So we've got, as for table service restaurants, we've got Jico, and we got Boma, and we've got Sanaa. Boma, I ate there with Mommy and with your Uncle Otis and Aunt Nancy and your Grandma Sherry, and we had a really good time with that. And
Hmm.
that was an interesting take on food because a lot of African food is somewhat blander in taste, at least to me anyway. So that was a good mix. But they have a huge dessert section too. So there were all sorts of treats to try, but they're really good restaurants, and those three are all on dining plan, and so is the Mara, which is the quick service that Sophie was talking about, and beyond those four that I listed there, we also have an assortment of lounges and poolside bars and
Hmm.
poolside, snack spaces so you can use the snack credit and things like that. They have a whole lot more, but besides that, it's just those were the main ones that I thought we would feature. So,
Yes, and we've got all sorts of recreation, just like in the last episode where we talked about the recreation for the moderate resorts. We have pools, campfire activities, movies under the stars, an arcade even, and painting, just like
yeah,
at the Port Orleans resorts. And you'll find that these campfire and the movies, just like the pools, they are at almost every single resort
yeah,
for the most part.
yeah. They are, and it's neat because it gives the family a way to just kind of unwind, especially if you got young ones. You can come back to your resort a little bit earlier. You don't have to feel like you're missing out because you didn't stay till 10 p.m. You can come back, you can relax with a movie outside on the patio or wherever, and just kind of wind down from the day. So it's kind of cool. Um, and then last, just a reminder that if you can do a Savannah View room at Animal Kingdom, you should do it because it is beyond incredible.
Hmm.
So, but but yeah, Animal Kingdom Lodge I think is one of our favorites. You know, one of the cool things about it is if you really want to go to Animal Kingdom, then you're real close to the Animal Kingdom Park. Obviously, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if you want to go to the other parks, it's a little bit more isolated. So you have to take bus transportation or Uber or minivan or whatever to get to where you or drive yourself to get to the other parks. So so that's a little bit of a drawback, but it's still a great resort, and I think it's probably underappreciated by a lot of people, but it's got a lot going for it. So
Mm-hmm.
so our next resort that we're going to talk about is next door to Disney's Contemporary Resort. And mommy has said that this is her favorite resort because
Oh.
of the modern aesthetic and because of how close it is to the Magic Kingdom. And we are talking about Bay Lake Towers. When we bought our DVC way back in 2010, we we gathered family and we went in 2011 and we stayed at Bay Lake Towers and we stayed at a 2-bedroom villa, and it was so cool because we had walking access to the Magic Kingdom. We could walk next door to Contemporary and then hop on the monorail and then change trains and go to Epcot. Or we could catch our bus transportation to go to Hollywood Studios or Animal Kingdom. And there's just a lot of close proximity to the parks. So it's really, really cool. As far
Yes.
as dining goes, um, you know, there's not a lot of dining specifically at Bay Lake Towers. They have their a lounge upstairs on the roof where you can watch the fireworks from.
Yes.
Um,
But the thing about
similar to the lounge at California Grill, but it's not a restaurant. So I mean, I think you can order snacks or hors d'oeuvres or
Mhm.
something like that, but for the most part, it's just bar activities.
The
Um,
thing about Bay Lake Tower is that it's kind of an extension of the Contemporary Resort.
It is, and it's the DVC portion of it.
Hmm.
So you know, if you're not a DVC member, which we're not anymore, but if you're not a DVC member, you can still stay there. You just pay cash for the room. Um, but because it's a deluxe villa, it's going to be more expensive because of the size of the rooms and what you get for those rooms.
Hmm.
So that's one thing to keep in mind. Um, but next door at the Contemporary are a lot of great dining options. We've got California Grill, we've got Chef Mickey's, we've got the Wave of American Flavors, we got Contempo Cafe, we've got lounges, we've got um, the California Grill Lounge if you just want to see about getting a seat to watch fireworks. Um, you know, it's first come,
Hmm.
first serve as far as that goes. Um, and on and on and on. So there's um, a lot to do and eat at next door at Contemporary.
Hmm.
So so and then looking at recreation things, you know, they've got a really cool pool that's shaped in Mickey ears at Bay Lake Tower, and they've got tennis courts and basketball courts, and you can play volleyball. Um, you can do yoga. You can get a cabana or a boat and rent those. You can go fishing. You can relax. You know the, but I think one of the recreation items that I didn't list for any of these is the fact that you can walk next door and go to the Magic Kingdom.
Well,
that
yeah.
is that's quite the recreation, I think.
And we are serious. It's literally within walking distance. I think
Yeah,
10 to 15 minutes
if
tops.
that, yeah, yeah.
There's
So,
literally a sidewalk.
hmm so walking access to the Magic Kingdom is quite a selling point for this resort.
Hmm.
Um, when we were there last, we it was a lake view room, but it was where we were positioned was close enough to the theme park side so that when we went out on the balcony, we could look to the left and we could see part of the fireworks and we could see Space Mountain. So it was that close. And it feels like you can just reach your arm out and touch the top of Space Mountain, but not quite.
Not quite. Almost.
Yeah. But anyway, so there's a lot of recreation also at Bay Lake Towers.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think, I don't know, for us, when we're staying at a place like this, we're staying there as much um, for the location as anything. So staying there um, and taking, being able to get easy access to the parks is probably the biggest draw. But having a nice room and being able to relax, that's a big bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So
And it is, I can see why Mommy would say it's one of her favorites. I really can.
yeah,
Now, on to the next one.
yeah,
And that would be the Polynesian Resort, which is another Magic Kingdom resort. In fact, the only one we have on this list that isn't a Magic Kingdom resort would be the Animal Kingdom Lodge, because we aren't talking about the rest of the deluxe resorts. So we have one more after this one, but first the Polynesian Village. And now, when you think of the Polynesian Village, it's best to think of the Enchanted Tiki Room in Adventureland, as well as Hawaii from Lilo and Stitch,
yeah.
because it's amazing, and I really do love the resort. There's just this amazing feel to it. And I've
Mhm.
been inside the lobby a few times, and it's so open. All it makes you want to do is look up.
Yeah. And it feels just like Sophie said, the Enchanted Tiki Room is a good analogy because that's the motif that they're kind of shooting for, it's Polynesian, and obviously because it's the
Mm-hmm.
Polynesian Village Resort. But it's a great place to stay, and we haven't stayed there yet. I would like to stay there at some point, but it hasn't made it onto our reservation board yet. Um, but it'll be neat when we are able to stay there. And they have a DVC component to it that's fairly new. And one of the neat things about the DVC rooms is they actually have over the water bungalows. So like you
Mm-hmm.
could get a bungalow and stay at a bungalow and have your porch be right on the water, um, and that's really kind of cool. So that would be really neat. I don't know that we would do that necessarily, but it is an option. So when you stay at Polynesian Village Resort, though, there's a lot of great dining options that you have to choose from, right, Soph?
Oh yes, a ton. And we've eaten at many of them, though we haven't actually stayed at the Polynesian Resort,
Right.
like all three of us.
Yeah. So starting us off is Ohana. And Ohana is a lunch and dinner, I mean, a breakfast and dinner only, I think, resort or restaurant. So for breakfast, that's when Sophie mentioned Lilo and Stitch. That's when they come out and play
Mm-hmm.
at Ohana, is for breakfast. And then for dinner, it is no characters, but it's the same great food. Great Polynesian type influences in their food and their menu. So,
Amazing.
and then the Spirit of Aloha dinner show is like a luau, Sophie. So you're sitting outside. You've got a luau going on. Great food, great characters moving around, and dancing and so forth. So you get the dinner show as well as a good meal. So if you If you are on the dining plan, Spirit of Aloha will cost you 2 credits because of the show as well as the food. So,
Yes, and then the next one is the Kona Cafe, which we've eaten there with Jagan once.
for
And
breakfast.
yes, and it was delicious. French toast with bananas and other assorted fruits will always be one of my favorite things ever.
So, did you like the Tonga toast?
I did. I loved it a lot.
You know, that's funny because as far as Tonga toast goes, I had it and I'm like, I don't necessarily need it. Um,
Mm,
it's not my favorite, so I think I'm okay with skipping it for next time and getting something different.
you can share mine if you need a bite.
Yeah. But the Kona Cafe itself was a great place. It's open,
Mm-hmm.
it's an open atmosphere, so it is a little bit noisy, but the food is still good. I'm just it hit me hard as far as how many flavors there was in the Tonga toast. So,
Mm.
and then Captain Cook's is a quick service, and so is Kona Island quick service and a lounge. Um, and those are some other dining options that you have at the resort. So,
And then we also have Captain Cook's and Kona Island, which I actually don't know that much about either of these.
oh, I was just gonna say that Captain Cook's and Kona Island are quick service and lounge. Can you not hear me, Soph?
I can.
You can? Okay.
Yeah, I can
Um,
hear you.
okay. Well, they're quick service and lounge type places. So just another place for you um to get your dining need in. If you want a quick bite, go to Captain Cook's. If you want to maybe have some sushi, go to Kona Island, that sort of thing.
Mm,
Um, so and
okay.
now as far as recreation goes, like Sophie was saying, the movies under the stars and the campfire activities, you see that at most of the resorts. Some obviously do painting instead of campfire, um, but for the most part, you see that at most of the resorts, and it's just an option. It's easy for you to have some other things to do outside of just going to the parks all the time. And then the pool at the Polynesian, they have several, but the main pool is a feature pool that a lot of people like. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then what else can you do?
Well, of course, we have movies under the stars, we have the campfire activities, we have the fishing, and we also have motorized boats because the Polynesian is right on the Seven Seas Lagoon, or
Mm-hmm.
is, yeah, it's the Seven
That's
Seas
Seven Seas
Lagoon, which is
Lagoon.
right in front of the Magic Kingdom.
Yep. And speaking of the Magic Kingdom, the Polynesian has a boat transportation that'll take you straight to the boat dock over to get into the Magic Kingdom. So it's also a monorail resort, so you could take the monorail around
Mm-hmm.
to it, or if you wanted to, you could take the boat. And when we ate at Ohana one morning, we went to the Magic Kingdom first for a little bit, and then we took the boat from the Magic Kingdom over to the Polynesian to make our dining reservation for Ohana for breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And then lastly, but most certainly not least,
yeah, is the Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. And this is the signature resort for Walt Disney World as far as Disney properties goes.
definitely, and it's actually Daddy's background.
It is my background, and I took that picture um, some time ago. I can't remember exactly when, but I thought it was neat, so I figured I'd put that one up.
Mm.
And the Grand Floridian is The interesting thing is that it wasn't open when Walt Disney World opened in 1971. It didn't open until the 80s, Sophie.
Yeah, I think I've heard that before because I remember this one time where I was completely obsessed with everything Disney World Resort.
Yeah,
So I probably know a bunch of trivia about these resorts. I think the
yeah.
Polynesian was the only one to be open at the time, wasn't it?
The contemporary, I think, also.
Hmm.
Although I could be wrong. I have to research that again. I forget sometimes. But for the Grand Floridian, the neat thing is that it's got a really old world Victorian um, element to it and theming. So when you walk into the Grand Floridian lobby, which even if you're not staying there, you should go ahead and take a ride over and just check it out one day because it's so stately. It's so cool, and they've got like a band that plays while you're just relaxing in the lobby, and they got a piano player and at Christmas, they set up this gorgeous Christmas tree, and they set up the gingerbread house for selling the delightful treats that they bake right there at the resort. Um, so it's just a really neat atmosphere. Um, and we were fortunate enough to be able to stay there back in 2013 as part of a Pixie get together. So that was cool that we had that opportunity. And but the rooms are just they're just it's nice. It's just nice to be able to stay there, and to have such close access to the Magic Kingdom. So,
Mm-hmm.
and there used to not be a walkway from the Grand Floridian to the Magic Kingdom, but now they have been working on building a walkway, and it might be open now if it's not
Mm.
already. And that would allow you to walk from the Grand Floridian over to the Magic Kingdom. It's a little bit further than walking from the contemporary side because it's set
Yeah.
back a little bit further out.
Yeah, it's actually I think across the lagoon from from the Polynesian and the Magic Kingdom. Because the Polynesian is also right by the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, and I think the Polynesian is furthest away.
Hmm.
And then you got Grand Floridian, and then you've got the Magic Kingdom, and then over to the right, I think is Contemporary. I'd have to look at the map to confirm that though.
Hmm.
But as far as dining options go, there's a ton of options for dining at the Grand Floridian, and some of these are signature places that you make a reservation, and you can only make it by calling in. Some of these you can't even make through the Disney system. You have to call the restaurant directly. Um, but places like Citrico's and Arcuzzi's are signature restaurants. So if I think those two are both on the Disney dining plan, but you're going to have 2 credits um, per if you wanted to eat at each of those. And then Victoria and Albert's is a really upscale restaurant. I would think all three of those you would really want to dress nicer than normal.
Definitely.
But Victoria and Albert's I think is like suit jackets and ties sorts of environment, or at least suit jackets.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and on the websites they have all the dress code requirements. But Victoria and Albert's is a kind of place that you go for your anniversary or something like that. Really something you're going to celebrate. You're going to spend a few hours here eating at that place because you're celebrating a very special moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then taking things back a little bit though, we've got the 1900 Park Fair. And we ate there once, didn't we, Sophie?
Yes, I think we did. I personally don't remember it, but I remember like probably being able to see it.
Yeah. 1900 Park Fair, in the morning it's breakfast with Alice in Wonderland
Oh.
and the Mad Hatter. But in the evening, it is dinner with with Cinderella and her prince and the stepmother and the stepsisters.
Mm-hmm.
And when we ate there for dinner, and the stepsisters were, in my opinion, I thought they were kind of rude, and you did not
Oh.
like them.
Oh yeah, that one.
So we haven't been there since, but
Well,
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
they were in character.
They were very much in character. So
Yeah. So I think that was what they were there to do.
yeah.
Anyway, next one.
Anyway, the next one is the Grand Floridian Cafe, and that's a casual dining. So it's a one credit on the on the dining plan. It's a table service, and then this one, yeah, Sheila says is her absolute favorite. That they make a reservation when they leave because it's just a relaxing way to have a last great meal before they head back home.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then there's also Gasparilla Island Grill, which is a quick service. So,
Yep. As for recreation, we have the usual. We have the pools, the movies under the stars, the campfire activities, and we have other things too because this is a very special resort. Daddy?
yeah. So, you can get cabana rentals, you can
Mm-hmm.
do boat rentals, and you can actually also do specialty cruises. And the neat thing about that is it takes you around the Seven Seas Lagoon, and you see different things from around there. So I haven't done that, but it sounds interesting. It kind of piqued my interest a little bit. It might be worth taking a look at, and maybe on a future podcast we'll talk about some of the specialty tours and things that we might want to look at. But yeah, so they have a lot of different things that you can do there, in addition to just your standard ones. But for me, the resorts are all about proximity to the parks, and just being close to the Magic Kingdom is what it's about for me. So
Yeah, which is why we used the three big Magic Kingdom resorts for this one, and they actually are all very special in that the monorail runs through all of them
yeah,
because all three of these resorts have a monorail attached to their resort, so you can easily just go to the monorail, take a loop around if you wanted to, but of course, you would want to hit the Magic Kingdom. Sorry, that
yeah.
was the table. That was the table.
Oh, I didn't hear anything, but that's okay. Um, but yeah, and that's the key is the fact that um, you want to make sure you get your park time in because that's necessary.
Yes.
So,
So,
some other great ones, that we didn't touch on, but some other great resorts under this category are Wilderness Lodge,
with
um,
Whispering Canyon.
with Whispering Canyon Cafe, which was a really great
It's a
birthday
family
dinner.
thing.
Yeah, it was a really great birthday dinner celebration we had with Randy last year. And then over in other parts of the resort, you've got Saratoga Springs, um, and that's great, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a great one. And Old Key West, which is a DVC property, it's the original DVC property. Those are great resorts to stay at. As far as the the feel of the resort, they all have different theming. For those, you're further away, so
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be bus transportation to get into the parks. Um, Over at the boardwalk area, you've got the boardwalk inn and the boardwalk villas, and then you got the yacht club and the beach club, which are sister resorts sitting side by side to each other. So those are great access to Epcot and Hollywood Studios. And then you've got the new Riviera Resort, which is right there in that same proximity as well. So so there's just a lot of great resorts to check out, and and I think this whole look at the different resorts, Sophie, it's just showing us how many resorts we have yet to stay at.
Hmm. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna
So
make it a bucket list. If I'm gonna live in Florida, I'm going to be able to send one of my loved ones, at least one of my loved ones, to every single one of these.
there you go. Okay, well I'll vote for me going. Okay,
Well, you'll be living in Florida too, so of course.
well we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
Well, anyway, I think that
Anyway,
about wraps it up for this one.
I think that wraps up our feature. Look at our feature topics. So if anyone has any questions about any of these resorts or any other resorts, shoot us an email or leave us a comment. Our email address is info@ontheroadwithmickey.com, or you can email me directly, mike@pixievacations.com, if you are interested in any travel questions regarding which resort might be best for you and your family, and so forth. But that takes us to this day in Disney history for June 1st. So,
Yes,
Sophie, what do you got for us?
I've got something very, very special for you. And I'm going to take you back to an episode that we did 2 weeks ago. I'm sure you remember who was on.
Special Yeehaw Bob Jackson.
Well, today I would like to wish him a very happy birthday, June 1st, 1953. Pianist, vocalist, comedian, and entertainer Piano Yeehaw Bob Jackson is born Robert J. Jackson in Ohio.
Really?
Yes, today is his birthday. Happy birthday, Yeehaw Bob.
Happy
We love
birthday,
you.
Bob. I think we should do a special trumpet call.
I am not going to go get my trumpet just to do that.
No, no, no. I meant like pretend like he blew his trumpet. What do we do? Ah!
Oh, goodness, we are silly.
Happy birthday, Bob. Happy
Yes,
birthday, Bob. Can't
happy
wait till we can
birthday.
see you at the Riverside.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's awesome. I had no idea it was his birthday, Sophie.
Yeah, neither did I. I was looking through June 1st for the list and I saw something out of the corner of my eye and it said yeehaw. And I was like, there's only one way that I would ever spell that. And it was in front of Yeehaw Bob Jackson. So then I looked and here it is. And there's even a quote from him. I have been playing and entertaining since I was a little boy. It's all I've ever wanted to do. Bob Jackson.
That's right. That's awesome. So that makes him 67 years old and so full of energy.
Mm-hmm. He's still young. Still very,
He's
very young.
young. He is very young. I'm going to shoot him an email when we're done recording and wish him an early happy birthday from us.
That is perfect.
All right. Well, good job, Sophie. Do you have anything else for June 1st you want to talk about?
Nothing as important.
Obviously not. Well, that takes us to our Disney Who's Who character.
Who's
And
who?
I've got a special character for June 1st.
Do tell. I'm listening.
He's a friend of Mickey Mouse.
He's a friend. I'm gonna say that his name is Goofy.
Nope.
I thought we already did Donald Duck.
It's not written on my page. So
Huh.
his name is Donald Duck. And, we all know he's one hot-tempered fella.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't mean to be, does he?
No, he doesn't.
I think he's like me a lot. He suffers from a lack of patience. And when something doesn't go his way, it tends to tick him off a little bit. But when Donald's angry, you can tell. He screams, "Whack!" WAK! Exclamation point, and turns red in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, so the reasons for his frustration, sometimes it's Goofy being clumsy, or someone flirting with Daisy, or it's just the little things like Aunt stealing his picnic lunch. But he has a soft side and he's not afraid to show it. He takes wonderful care of his nephews.
Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Mm-hmm. And he would do anything for Daisy.
Which is Mommy's favorite.
That's right. When Donald isn't with Mickey, Daisy, or his nephews, he can usually be found fishing or sleeping in his hammock.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you know?
Did I know what?
Do you know what Donald's middle name is, Sophie? No Googling.
I do not.
Donald's middle name is Fauntleroy.
I never would have guessed that.
And do you know how much younger Donald Duck is than Mickey Mouse? How many years?
I thought Donald was older than Mickey.
No, Mickey's the original.
Well, I mean, wait, no, because Mickey came out when it was black and white, and I'm pretty sure Donald came out when it was color. Never mind.
Donald first appeared 6 years after Mickey Mouse.
Ah.
Now, this I did not know. I knew that Donald was a few years after Mickey. I didn't know it was 6. I had heard his middle name was Fauntleroy, but I wouldn't have stuck that I would have remembered it. But this, I had no idea. Donald has appeared in more films than any other Disney character and is the most published non-superhero comic book character in the world.
See, that's why I thought Donald was older than Mickey, because I thought that because he'd appeared in more.
Yeah. I had no idea he'd been in more than the rest of them. So.
Well.
And that's my Who's Who character for this day.
And that's a great Who's Who character.
My last thing is our Walt Disney quote. And in light of all the reopening news and everything going on with that, I thought this quote was very appropriate. And it's a quote from Walt Disney, who simply said, "The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing." And that
I agree.
Pretty much sums it up, doesn't it?
I agree.
Uh-oh.
What was that?
The lights blinked. Not quite sure why. I thought we lost power, but we didn't lose internet. So our recording is still good.
We're good.
Things we cover sometimes. Anyway, that wraps us up for this week. This week's topic. And next week, we're going to have a special guest. Our friend Brenda is going to join us. And we are going to talk about our Disney bucket lists.
Yes,
So
and not
Sophie,
just for this trip, ever.
No. Our Disney bucket list, what's at the top of our list for anything we want to do Disney that we got to check it off our bucket list.
I can't wait for that.
So start working on yours, okay?
Okay.
And for the rest of you, give us your ideas. What's on your Disney bucket list? You know, is it maybe a trip to Alani? Is it a trip to Disneyland Paris? Is it, just staying at every resort at Walt Disney World? Or maybe it's staying at the Grand Californian Hotel over in Disneyland. I don't know. You tell me. Maybe your Disney bucket list item is to, be the person that opens the Magic Kingdom one morning. There's so many different ways. There's no wrong answers, is there?
No, there's not a single wrong answer when it comes to Disney.
So when it comes to that, there's no wrong answer. So tell us what's on your Disney bucket list. I will put that out as a poll question in the group. And remember, You can reach the group at facebook.com/groups/on-the-road-with-Mickey group. And that is easy to join. Just join and click the join button and then start talking Disney or talking travel with us, okay? We don't always talk Disney in there, but we talk about it quite a bit right now.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I'm Mike, and She's Sophie. Thanks for joining us, guys, and we will talk to you and see you next week.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.
See you on the road.
See you on the road. That's right. Thanks for remembering that, Soph.
Uh-huh.
Let's do that again. I want to close it out nice.
All right.
All right. We'll see you on the road.
See you on the road.
Bye.